love goes, there is also misery. It's no mystery. And you and I, we got history, yeah. Wherever love flows, there is also tragedy when we're in too deep. And you and I, we got history, yeah. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain. My love, it grows with the memories like a symphony. And you and I, we got history, yeah. And when you're alone, do you say my name or you say her name? Yeah. My love, it grows with the memories like a symphony. And you and I, we got history, yeah. Wherever love flows, there is also tragedy when we're in too deep. And you and I, we got history, yeah.
them, because you do have to remember that the way things have gone so far in this tournament, the maps that we've expected teams to win, they have not, and the maps that we thought they would lose, they've then gone on one. So maybe it'll be a complete switch. It would be just the right way, but quickly starting off, Kenny has got that first kill, and MBK will pick up the second. The aggression so far from Godsent has not paid off. JW is able to trade and clean up at least onto the A side, which does mean they're going to get the map control back before MB can actually swarm on.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-on-4 currently. The man advantage going the way of EnVyUs, as it looks like they're going to try to make their way on towards this A site. We're going to be seeing that Apex trying to make his way out. Palace is going to force JW to fall on back. Flusher as well, making his way up. Connector isn't going to be ready for Happy on the lurk, coming in through lower tunnels. Going to get tagged down low. He's going to find the first frag. Happy finds a second as well. The lurk paying off. And, well, now it's all on Pronax. 1 versus 3. Only taking a few CZs and some nades up into this round, and now Kenny is going to be the last player left for EnVyUs. Able to find one as he tries to save, but the issue is they know where he is. They're trying to make their way through to take the AWP off of him. And it's looking like JW is just going to be a few seconds too slow, so Kenny does escape with his life intact. And that's going to allow him to keep the AWP up into the next round and mean that EnVyUs can field a relatively competitive buy. 4 rifles, plenty of utility across the board with the exception of Happy. Godsent, though, also going to be on an equally as strong buy.
Yeah, Schneider on the AWP, and he's going to win that first duel. The peak comes in, and they hand him a second. Going to be taking that one nice and easily already. The start going wonderfully for Godsent into this next round, and Flusher will be able to add another to the death toll on the EnVy side, pushing through the smoke. We will lose Happy, and, well, quick cleanup. That's a ridiculous... It's 23 seconds for the whole round to go. What an insane round from Godsent, and Schneider start things off. And, well, all that money that was invested into the last is going to slip back onto the pistols once again for EnVy.
Yeah, and they're going to be on the back foot heading in towards this round. Eagles across the board with the exception of Kenny. He was going to be on that Tech 9. They've got a little bit of armor to try and play around with and make something happen with into this one. Going to be seeing a heavy mid presence early on from the side of EnVyUs with 2 players trying to take it, and then they also send Kenny and Sixer in through lower tunnels, trying to split out in towards mid. Schneider going to be the player watching it with the AWP in hand. He's going to be focusing his attention out towards top mid. As he backs away, EnVyUs are going to be taking full advantage onto that, making their way out. The nade into lowers is going to find good damage on a Sixer and Kenny. They do still manage to grab control of mid for their troubles. Now boosting up into window. It's going to be JW to find the first in through connection. Takes down Apex. It's going to be the man advantage going the way it got set early on. And as Crimson Schneider pick up many frags between Schneider on 2, it's going to look like Godsent can clean this one up in a matter of seconds, only taking the slightest smidge of damage onto Schneider.
I love the jumping CZ headshot. I should stop saying Z. I'm not American. I think that's my problem. I've got it stuck in my head.
No, it's all good.
It's an Americanism. Either way, we will be going back into this round. Both teams on a bye. Kenny will have himself the AWP back in hand, and their utility is a little bit lackluster. Double nade comes out, but doesn't do anywhere near as much damage as they probably hoped, only taking Happy down 10 HP. The smoke will not fall into window as it bounces back out into mid, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. It does mean that in terms of the limited utility they've had, they've just had to use another smoke-to-smoke window, leaving them with only 1 left. So problems are rising already for the EnVy side. They've managed to take over short control and look to go towards Pronax. He's currently alone. The rotation seemingly coming in from Flusher. He's not actually making his way over just yet, so maybe there is potential for them to actually just get straight out to that B site. Kenny will be going for the boost, but it's Crims to get the first kill on to Happy, lurking over towards ramp. There's still 2 players in connector, so they're not really dedicated to either of the sites just yet. They're almost hoping that Kenny will find them a pick, and he's actually going to miss the shot, giving an advantage. Sixer, in fact, kills his teammate Apex and gives a second man advantage over to Godsent, and I don't think they needed that.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's going to put EnVyUs even further behind. Pronax coming in from short, takes down Sixer. Now it's all MBK and Kenny S. 2 players have been doing very well for the side of EnVyUs, but as MBK falls, it's all going to fall once again onto Kenny. Someone has to try and come up huge to keep them in this. It does have the AWP in hand, his favourite weapon. Going to find one on a Flusher, but Schneider just being around the corner is able to be faster on the trigger. Takes down Kenny in that one-on-one and does manage to secure a 4th round on the board for Godsent.
Yeah, they've come back from the deficit of the 4-1, and it was sort of a position early where we were saying, okay, it's only 1 round, you've saved, things haven't gone wrong. But in that round, things seemed to go very wrong early on. Missed smokes that sort of caused them to run out of utility very early in the game. The position where Sixer ends up killing his teammate just added insult to injury, and from then on out, they were fighting an uphill battle, which Godsent, well, even if they're having sort of bad games, they're not really throwing away at positions like that, especially not today. They've started very strong. Their economy as well, you have to remember, all they've really done is win 4 rounds, and they saved a couple of AKs. That means 11 grand for JW at this point.
Yeah, the fact that they're, in round number 9, he's already got that sort of money on his person. It's going to be fairly pivotal here. I mean, it does mean they can afford to buy up, within the next 3 rounds, even if they lose. Maybe, the only person who would create some issues there is going to be Flusher. He'll need to be dropped, and so will Pronax. So maybe not. Maybe the next 2, I would say, at a push with the loss bonus being taken into account. But, I mean, yeah, still, it's going to leave him in a very good situation with EnVyUs once again being on the back foot. Economically coming into this with so little money, having to eco up again. It's not going to be, it's not going to prove
by
well.
the pause.
The reason is because they take the time out now to kind of pause. They see if they can do anything into this round. The discussion is just going to be about, you know, what they can try and field in towards the rifle buy, I guess, getting it out of the way sooner rather than later. Either that or it's a technical.
I think it's something, well, it says tactical on the screen in big letters.
Oh, well, then there we go.
I would
so
assume maybe
yeah,
not.
okay, that's fair enough. You're using the stream one, that's all good.
You do have the point that Envy, it's currently 4-all. It's not like it's a really bad position to be in, and they're sort of on the T side as well. So I am a little bit skeptical that this might be a bit early, but the last round they had did have quite a few mistakes in it, so maybe they're addressing something specific. That's what I'm sort of edging towards, rather than just, okay, we've got to change our overall game.
Yeah, no, okay, that's a valid point. I'm always a fan of seeing them call it in nice and early in anyway. I think too many teams leave it too late on in the half, and you get to a point where they call in the pause in like round 13, and you think to yourself, well, this could only maximum net you a 3-round, you know, advantage. So to be calling it in round 9, there's still 6 rounds left to play with. They could still very much finish off this half ahead. I think it's a good situation to find themselves in. We're going to be seeing, like we say, Deagles across the board, very typical of EnVyUs, a little bit of armor to try and play around with, and looking to make their way out mid.
It will be Schneider once again. Of course, it's Deagles only, so they are going to go for the spam. A little bit of a bait jump coming out to almost hope that they can find that kill onto Schneider as he flicks away, but he doesn't. He's calm and collected as he fields that first kill. Crims again playing up high and will be able to get the first kill. Happy doesn't actually go through. I'm quite surprised he doesn't try to trade that kill. Doesn't want to risk it through the smoke, which is something he's almost renowned for. He will be hiding on the edge of it now. Crims is going to get that kill as well, so pretty comfortable. Flusher will be lost in the meantime, but again, still making quite a bit of cash. JW still on 13,700. As you said, they may have to drop for Flusher, but it's not going to be a problem in the overall money standpoint, and more importantly, they keep the AKs and the AWP into this round, so they have almost a perfect buy. Pronax with the M4, but that may just be down to preference.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing EnVyUs finally with a chance to try and remedy this. You have the AWP up on Kenny, and then 4 rifles for them to play around with. MBK trying to find some aggression early on in towards Palace. It's going to be Molotov out of play as Crims and JW over towards Slope look to try and hold down the fort. You have also got Schneider in CT with that AWP mid, curiously enough, being given over to EnVyUs almost entirely for free, and giving them that presence. Well, normally you would see that come up huge, but Schneider's going to find the first out of Apex. MBK is there to trade things out over towards ramp, over towards...
They're going to find the bomb.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, they are going to find the bomb over in CT. JW takes down Sixer, who was rotating back to try and grab it. And, you know, this is going to be a real problem here for EnVyUs, as suddenly there's the one-man advantage going the way of Godsent, and you have JW in your back line, right by the bomb. Crims being in a position where he could potentially try and trade as well. Kenny S does finally take down JW, but elsewhere Crims is going to be able to find NBK, who was trying to go aggressive out and towards the A site, puts it into a 2-on-3. And at this point, EnVyUs, they have very little information as to where Godsent are. They know kind of the whereabouts of Crims, but they don't know where Flusher is. He was playing over towards B. Now he's rotated into this A site. As they walk out, they're both going to be there. The crossfire set up. Now it's all on Kenny, 1 versus 2. Does find 1 frag, but he's still got 2 more Swedes left to find. And sadly, Crims is going to be coming up trumps, takes his head clean off, and puts a 6th round on the board for Godsent.
Yeah, nice little switch up there from Godsent. As you mentioned at the beginning, they completely abandoned mid and decided to go for the aggressive play over towards ramp instead. And it was almost as if the map control sort of confused Envy, because they were so used to having to challenge that AWP that the switch up actually made it work. They then put Schneider on ticket box, so they still had a presence over towards connector without having to be in direct contrast. The only real problem was that the players didn't really go ramp. They went towards Palace instead, and that did catch Schneider out a little bit, but other than that, the play worked out wonderfully. They find the bomb and just trade effectively after finding the initial man engagement. This time Schneider once again playing a very dynamic style over towards middle, taking it from different angles every single time, and it has caught a player almost every single time, so working wonderfully for him. And well, Flash will be just a second late. Done it before, there would have been somebody there, but in the meantime Envy have fallen back. 2 players once again in towards Palace. Maybe a future aggressive point coming in. MBK is going to catch 1, but Kenny does not check his angles, and he will fall in connector, a position that was not clear. So to go that aggressive is risky, but there you go. MBK is trading everything back at the moment, bringing things back into a 2 versus 2. You've got Pronax and Flusher, and unfortunately they also have the bomb.
Yeah, Flusher was able to take that down in mid, and now as Pronax finds 1 on a happy, it's all on MBK, 1 versus 2. They know that Flusher's going to be over towards middle. Is Pronax coming in from behind. It's going to be heard out by MBK. And oh, a nice one-tap there to find that frag. MBK on 3 frags. He's got to try and find the 4th on a Flusher for the win. And as Flusher peeks out, he is going to be the one finding the frag at the end of that. It's going to be a 7th round on the board for Godsent. Sadly, the bomb being down in mid and the weight of EnVyUs on his shoulders. MBK, it was just too much to bear.
Yeah, it was a really nice attempt, actually. It seems to be one of the players who is awake in this map. Again, Apex pretty quiet when it comes to entry, fragging onto the sites, and it seems like the aggression from Godsent once again is working out relatively well in the early round positions, and when it drops the bomb like it did in that round, things normally seem to go wrong. In this round, at least, we're going to see the pistols come into play and a smoke set up onto this A site. They're going to try and get as close and personal as they can using the smokes, and they're actually going to time them quite nicely so that Apex will already be out. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have worked too well. MBK will again find the only kill that they've got so far, and it will allow them to get a bomb plant. So overall, that's relatively successful. Now we have to wait for the rotate from the CT side, and they're going to try and take this one as a team.
Yeah, making their way in. 6 is going to find the first out on the Pronax. Flusher trying to refrag. It's going to be able to get it. Takes down 6. They put it back into a 3-on-3. The smoke's now starting to clear. As they count on the bodies, you can see it is going to be even across the board. Godsent still trying to find a way in towards this one, but you have got both Schneider and Flusher in towards jungle, and Crim's making his way through CT now. He's going to get tagged down low. Nice shot from MBK, but it's going to get finished off. But as Schneider finds Kenny, it's all going to fall in a happy 1 versus 3. The Lurk player coming in from middle is just going to get taken down. Schneider finds the head, and sadly, Happy there. I mean, it all rested on him, and if he just landed just a singular bullet through the smoke onto Crims, he would have been able to potentially take that round, but does get taken down. It's going to go 8-4 as Godsent. They pick up their 8th in a row, may I say.
Yeah, that's the bigger problem now, and of course the pause has already been called by Envy, so they can't do it anymore. As said, it would be a sort of 13 round, so in order to actually win a few, it may not help them too much. Of course, that was just a pistol buy, so not too much of a problem just yet. We're not really screaming that everything's gone wrong for Envy. If they can get a couple more rounds, we wouldn't even say this was a bad half overall. So now we have the buy back in play. Now we have a fair bit of utility, although still quite limited on smokes. Timing, JW caught with a smoke in hand, so maybe a little bit of luck going the way of Envy at the moment. Happy will time that one very nicely, and now finally Envy have got a man advantage going into this round.
Yeah, for the first time in a long time, but Crims looking to try and change that. Finds one, finds a second as well. MBK trying to come through to trade things back out into a 3-on-3, does so. And Flusher in from short, unable to have any impact into that take just now. As EnVyUs starts swarming in towards the site. Flusher on the other side of the smoke finds MBK. What's going on?
Friend.
Smokes, he just doesn't see them. He's deleted smokes.jpg from the files apparently. Now it's all unhappy. 1 versus 3. He's got a lot left to find, and while we've seen him in these situations before, let's hope it's going to have a better story this time around. Schneider jumps on across, and it's going to get taken down, but Flusher there to trade things back. The defuse coming in. It's going to go 9-4. As Godsent, they secure yet another round on the board, and Envy, it's starting to look worse and worse.
Yeah, another bomb plant, of course, will enable them to get a buy on the board and can even drop an AWP for Kenny if it's so desired. Now, a lot of very quiet players at the moment. Big play here from Crims, trading this round back and finding both players, and Kenny missing the shot overall. MBK is doing his best at the moment to try and fight things back, but when things like that happen, I don't think there's too much you can do.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But look at this, Crims going aggressive up towards top mid, finds good damage, isn't going to get one, but his Flusher in from short to take down both. Apex and Sixer both get taken down. Now it's MBK and Happy in a 2 versus 4. Bombs down in towards mid, and Godsent, they've got full control of this map. MBK trying to make his way out on towards Tetris. Is it going to get caught out by Schneider? Now it's all on Happy in towards top mid, not with his teammates. They're going to fall, and once again he finds himself locked in an eternal struggle. 1 versus, insert incredibly high number here, as he looks to make his way towards mid to try and grab this bomb.
Flusher looks like he's got his old mouse back. I think that's all we can really say. He looks absolutely phenomenal at the moment. I think we could have a highlight reel of just today's smoke kills from Flusher, and that would be enough to get quite high on the Reddit threads. Either way, he's doing phenomenally well, and it is just absolutely, well, stopping Envy in their tracks. That was such an early round, couple of frags. Crim's doing a lot of damage as well, it has to be said, but we still have Happy, and now, well, they know exactly where he is. He has the bomb, he's going to try and push through, but this has to be expected at the moment from the CT side. Flusher will peek out, and, well, he's going to get his 3rd kill of the round. Flusher going ham, and Well, at the moment, I'm trying to decipher where the weak link of this Godsent side is.
Well, I mean, Apex being 3 and 12 probably would be a good kind of area to try looking at. Alternatively, I mean, you could also try looking over towards Happy, who I think at this point, normally he's very, very good at playing the lurk role, right? But when his team aren't there in terms of their aim, and he's missing his shots too, it does kind of feel like maybe they would benefit from having the 5th man there with them in these pushes, as opposed to elsewhere to kind of help.
At least try it.
Yeah, help make up for the fact that Apex maybe is kind of missing his mark a little bit. But as we head into round number 15, the last round of the first half, let's see any changes that EnVyUs are looking to implement. Sixer up on the AWP this time around. Kenny really getting onto the Tech 9, and Pronak's going to get tagged down low. Sixer does find some damage on the back of the AWP, but that nade is going to just completely send him to the grave. So, yeah, damage going back and forth. Ultimately, though, Godsent come out on top, a one-man advantage very early on.
Well, Kenny is going to get his ult back, so maybe not too unhappy about that one. Apex, it seemed like he had everything ready there to take down Crims, but Crims gets the better of him once again, and that's going to give the 2-man advantage now over towards this CT side. Dink will come out as Pronak's looking to do a little bit more damage. We'll be happy to trade onto Crims eventually. Now we are looking like a possible situation, but with the loss of a couple more, Flusher is just doing it all alone once again. Kenny, he's going to try his best, but Schneider comes jumping around with the CZ, and that's going to be it. 11-4. Look at that picture right there. That's absolutely ridiculous. 4 rounds, you win the pistol, and you only get 4 rounds. 11 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, well, earlier on when we were talking about it, there was like an 8-4 scoreline or something, I remember thinking. And, when you look at it like that, even an 11-4, you might be thinking, well, that's not that, it's not the worst case scenario at least. But then you kind of bring up the scoreboard, you see that all EnVyUs were able to get was the pistol plus 1 more. And even then, I'm fairly sure it's because they kind of ruined the economy of Godsent a little bit, so not everyone had the ideal sort of buys. And since then, Godsent, it's only been Godsent. EnVyUs haven't had any presence anywhere. So heading into the second half now,
it's Godsent versus MBK. That's all it's been.
Yeah, well, we're going to be seeing the game of that as we head into the second half. Now, Flush going to be finding the first out on a 6 over towards the A site. The 1-man advantage very quickly going the way of the Swedes. And, well, it's going to cause a rotate as well. Flusher just putting in work with the Deagle as this B site starts to fall. It's MBK versus 4. Going to find 3 frags. Oh, he's going to get taken down. JW finally there to trade things out. But what a hold. He finds all but 1. And now Flusher on the lurk. And it's Happy. The last CT alive takes down JW and puts it into a 1 versus 1. Flusher's got to try and get 4 to win this. And Happy has to find 2.
Yeah, Flusher actually dropping his Deeg, so after he actually got given a Deeg and Kevlar. That is like the super raid boss. He's just been handed money to try and buy his way through this one. Of course, Happy seems to have actually fallen all the way back around. He's trying to flank the flanker at the moment, going all the way back around the map. I think he's aware that the bomb's on the B site, or at least I hope he is, and that means that he should be able to come all the way back around behind Flusher now. The likelihood that Flusher would expect him to be all the way around the back is pretty slim. This takes a full rotation, and it's almost like they're playing mind games with each other at the moment. Neither player seemingly knowing where the other is. Of course, Happy could assume that maybe he's taken the bomb and gone to A, so it is just all going to come down to who is aware at this point. And Flusher, he is going to be able to retrieve that bomb. Will he actually spot out Happy? He will now, and that should give him time to get the plant down. It gives a lot of opportunity for Happy to run back in. The peak will come out, but really we're just looking for that headshot, and there is Flusher. What a round from Flusher, starting things off wonderfully. MBK, he tried his best. To get surrounded like that and to find 3 kills is ridiculous, and well, I think we've already got 2 highlight reel clips in this round alone. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can fault anything MBK's been doing really so far. He's been trying to drive his team through this one. And, the 3 frags he got were absolutely insane to hold down the site. 4 players pushing against him, and he managed to find 3 of them. That should be all the work you need done. But sadly, EnVyUs, they can't convert the round. Flusher goes huge, meanwhile, out towards the A site. And ultimately, it's just fragging back and forth, both of them having these key players. But it's just what team is doing better. And, well, right now, it's all coming up Godsent. Yeah, MPK is good, but Flusher, just better at the moment. A little bit harsh. But JW, well, he's going to end that one saving grace. They put him alone over towards the A site. He had a little bit of extra money to get a Deeg and some armor, but it's going to be quickly dropped. Now the site belongs completely to Godsent. They're going to go pushing in, and there could even be a flank at the moment from Schneider. Everybody's going to push towards JW, but he jumps up, spots one, doesn't quite manage to get the kill onto the others. A lot of damage being done, and JW doesn't look like he wants to give this up. Will actually be dropped, and he has one of the only AKs at the moment. Flusher again grabs one through the box. Kenny can grab another, so they are doing at least a little bit of damage, but they should be able to go and retrieve the other AK, and, well, that's exactly what Crims will do.
Yeah, it's going to go 13-4. 9 rounds ahead currently on the side of Godsent, and they've still got one more round they could potentially get out of, you know, the relative anti-ecos. We've got rifles across the board, with the exception of Schneider and Flusher, who looks to just head into this with the USP.
Please, no. Please, not again. Of course, yeah, the old trusty Oost, and it has gone, thankfully. It will be Flusher finding himself one, and, well, now we look to the rest of the players. There's only Happy left on the site. Will tap away and almost catches out JW. Flusher will, in fact, be able to pick up the AK. So, 14-4, 2 rounds left needed, and Godsent, well, I said they have a good CT side, and it seems like they do have a pretty good CT side,
yeah.
Excluding pistols, because you have to remember, oh, do you know, I've just realised, after that round from Flusher, the 95% stat's going to go down.
Yeah, I know. That's the sad truth of it all.
And that's what it took.
But,
that's
yeah.
what it took. Comes down to a 1v1 and a 4K. Flusher, well, he's already starting this round off with a bang, and that is Sixer going down. Apex is going to be there. The flash comes in, and he's able to get one as well. MBK has found JW in the meantime, so they have quickly brought this back to an advantageous position. The bomb and one player will be over towards that B site, but they're not really making the push just yet. Schneider still with the AWP in play, and Kenny, well, he's glass cannon, so has to be a bit more careful of these nades. There's 2 HEs still in play, which will definitely be detrimental to his help. MBK, he is jumping across, has to be a bit more careful. Of course, this isn't the old sort of, well, the bodies, I suppose, of the old one where you could almost jump up and never be hit. It is one of those you can hit them now. That was a great update for Counter-Strike, I feel. Yeah,
no, definitely so. But update talk aside, it is going to be the man advantage heading the way of EnVyUs into this round. Probably the first time in a long time we'd seen them in this position. MBK trying to spot out Pronax in towards B apps. They're trying to make their way up short to split in towards B. Now that strategy suddenly not looking like it's going to be on the cards, as they do lose Pronax, who was the apps player. Instead, looking to be a little bit curious in towards this A site. Schneider does miss the shot with the AWP as Kenny goes through to peek him. Isn't going to be able to find too much on the back of that just yet, but I mean, you have, of course, also got Apex here ready and waiting. 2 players on either site, and as Happy makes his way up short, might be able to find Schneider. Just timing, not going to allow it. They just miss each other as Schneider makes his way up through window. And they're going to be splitting in through CT. This is a very nice situation to be in as they make their way towards B. MBK, they're ready and waiting, finds that frag on a Crimson with only 15 seconds left. Schneider's going to really try and come up huge here. Now 10 seconds. I don't even know if he has, I don't think he has enough time to even make it to the site, so he's just going to opt to save. And sadly, Happy, in the lurk player he is, finds that frag, and it's going to go 14-5. EnVyUs, they finally pick up a round for what? The first time in 12 rounds? So
well, no, no, it's more than that. It's actually 14.
14 rounds, yeah. 12 didn't sound right.
Yeah,
but,
no, I can't do maths.
Oh, okay, that's good then. I won't ever put you under that immense pressure ever again. I could see your calculating mind just looking blankly at the screen.
I was looking more towards the economy to see whether or not Godsent can actually get a buy on the board, and luckily with Flusher having so much cash in the bank, they will actually be able to do just that. So it will be AKs on the board. Of course, there's still a UMP on Sixer, so having to skimp a little bit, but they've managed to get double AWPs, and it's actually Happy picking the secondary one up. We haven't seen this in a while. Used to be, well, pretty much MV City. Every time there'd be a double AWP, sometimes he'd even take it off of Kenny in the sort of real old days. Of course, times have changed since then, but they will have the double AWP in play. And utility's not too bad, mostly just flashbangs, only 1 smoke left, so the stopping power has been reduced. The imaginary brick wall will not be there for a T side soon. With a minute left on the clock, it does mean that their utility is starting to lack a little bit. No Molotovs if they need a retake. The only problem is you look at the T side, they've got 1 flashbang and 1 Molotov left.
Yeah, and well, Flash will make his way up short, undetected as well. Currently sitting in the ladder room, and as MBK looks to try and peek around the corner, he's of course going to be the biggest threat to this play. And well, we're seeing Godsent looking to be lining up for what is going to be a B hit. You've got Flusher in position to come in with the flank, and MBK of course is going to be having to help out Happy if this does come underway. 4 players can be charging out of apps. It's terrifying. And, well, Flush is going to go for the peak. Very well timed. Finds that first frag. Now it's all on Happy. Going to be able to pick up 1 and a JW, but so far that's it. Has to try and buy time for the rotate to come in. And Pronax, he's going to take him down. Sadly, Happy caught with his pants around his ankles. Puts it into a 3-on-4. Flusher in from short. Still wreaking havoc. Finds 1 on the Apex. Looks for their second. And Sixer's going to go down. It's all Schneider at the end to find 1 on a Kenny as Godsent arrive at match point.
Yep, and that was basically a bust for EnVy. Everything goes wrong, and that is what their money looks like now. only one M4 onto Happy. He's going to have to be an absolute catalyst. And you look towards MBK, he's only on a dig. The rest of the team in a similar circumstance, a little bit of utility to play with as Kenny had some spare cash. But this is a real last-ditch effort at the moment. And Godsent really showing an absolutely phenomenal position. To remember, out of the last, 15 rounds, they've won 14. And that's only because they lost 1 in this half so far. I wouldn't be surprised if that was all they lose. Schneider, he's already got 2 entries into this round, flashing through. Well, there'll be a couple of frags coming back, but it's still going to be an advantage. MBK, we're looking at you at the moment. Spamming away, will take down Pronax, bringing it close, but JW is there to trade, leaving Happy. At least it's the rifle player. He has something to play with in this round. Doesn't have a kit. Will spot out Crims, but now they know where he is, and JW runs around the corner. A 16-5. With only 1 round 1 excluding the first 4.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was entirely Godsent throughout the entirety of that game, bar the first 4 rounds. But I mean, that was the pistol and then 1 round off the back of that as well. Aside from that, Godsent looking incredibly strong, and a lot of it does come down to Flusher just being a complete and utter machine.
Schneider had a great game as well with that AWP. He was so dynamic on the CT side. Like, he was taking picks everywhere.
The other thing you got to realize is Pronax was sitting there with something like 6 frags towards the end.
But that's how they win games.
Yeah, no, I know. They basically do play it essentially with almost like a coach, and then just 4 players just kind of going at it, finding the frags, and they're able to do that. You know, there was the full team there for EnVyUs. Sadly, it didn't feel like it.
That was always how it used to be, though. They would have the sort of Pronax sitting there. If he's ever